910 Sports with Icon E, the podcaster who speaks his mind. Not afraid to go against the grain. The podcast that will make you think while discussing the latest topics in the NBA, NFL, college football, basketball, and more. Giving the latest interviews and spotlighting the youth of today and tomorrow and the coaches who put it all together while building championship programs.
So what's going on? What's going on? It's your boy Icon E. And I got
your boy
my man
Jacob
the great. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, listen, y'all, man. Listen. Hey, it's not too many times I get excited like I did this morning. I couldn't even sleep. I've been up since like 5:30 this morning. I've been anticipating this interview for a while now. When this young man said he was gonna come on here and bless us with his presence, it's not too many times in life where you know somebody where we come from that actually do what they say they're gonna do, and they actually like have a dream as a child, and they actually complete that dream. I've known this man probably since we was probably 4 or 5 years old, from the seesaw days to the sandlot days. And I remember when I first met him, he's lived right beside my grandmother, and he had a lot of energy at that age. I'm like, who is this little kid with all this energy? And he come from a good stock, good family background. And the thing about it was, I was a small kid, and he was smaller than me, and that was almost impossible. And at that time, and I didn't see him for some years. Years later, I seen him, and he looked like, he just, just stayed in the gym overnight, just lived in the gym. You know what I'm saying? But I was looking at his accomplishments, man, and he's just done it all. So, ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you to my man Caprice Coleman, matter of fact, the world champion Caprice Coleman. How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm doing good. I'm excited to be here. I'm just as excited as you. When you compliment me, say young man, so this is gonna be a good interview.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, man, listen, man, brother. Just kind of let us know, like, how this all got started. Because, like I said, I know when you was a kid, you was into wrestling. So, what age was it that you really said this is something that I really want to do?
Oh man, you're right. I started watching wrestling. Actually, first time I saw wrestling was when I was living beside your grandmother. I turned on TV and I saw. I didn't know it was wrestling. I just saw this dude named Dusty Rhodes like talking on the microphone. He was just like talking junk on the microphone and talking about the devil in the boot. I think he was feuding with Barry Windham or something. It was. I don't remember it all at the time, but I remember turning on the TV and seeing Dusty Rhodes. Yeah, and like I was hooked ever since. And as a kid, man, and I remember all that sword fighting with the switches and all that. Yeah, I was hooked as a kid, and I think I grew up. Everybody know I grew up wrestling. I'd be wrestling in the yard, made the cardboard belts and all of that. And then I want to say I was around 14 years old when Brian Pillman, when they reintroduced the cruiserweight title in WCW with Brian Pillman and Jushin Liger. And because I was a small kid growing up all the way through school, and I liked wrestling, but I thought I was too small for it. So this had to be, maybe I was in, I don't know, 7th, 8th grade or something like that when the cruiserweight title came at the WCW. And it went from me liking wrestling to thinking I could actually do it, participate in it or whatever one day because they had smaller people. And then after that, man, that was all she wrote.
Yeah. So I see you got trained by the Hardy Boys. So how did you get introduced to them to be able to get trained by them?
I was out one day and I saw like an advertisement for like a local wrestling match that was happening. And this guy was putting up the posters for it, and I asked him about it. And at this time, man, I was 18 years old, but I had a real late growth spurt. So I was 18 years old, and I wrestled all the way through school, but I didn't even weigh like 135 pounds then. All the way through high school, I didn't have my growth spurt until I was in my early 20s. And so I asked him about the show, and he just told me about the show. And I went to the show, and he introduced me to some of the guys, and I didn't know, like, they weren't Matt and Jeff Hardy at the time. They were just like Hardy Boys. It was like people that had dreams like me to be wrestlers, but they had got to a point to where they were running like, monthly shows at the Armory, stuff like that. And I told them I wanted to train to be a wrestler, and it started on from there. When we started training, the organization they were changed to a higher place, higher and higher, started rising up from there. So then they got popular enough to where Omega grew, and then they ended up getting signed with WWE, and took off from there.
Okay, let me ask you a question. So I know, like as a kid growing up, with me and people like Rod Shaw and Trayvon and Anthony Watkins, all those we used to wrestle in the neighborhood, like just. And I was telling we had another wrestler on here, animosity on here a few weeks ago, and I was telling her, I said, well, we was so serious with it, we used to actually go make the little belts out of cardboard boxes, and then
Yeah,
put the aluminum foil on
yeah.
them, and then we was so crazy with it, we would make contracts and do like a Starcade thing. This was back with Starcade days, and then you put down like your real name under your wrestler name, and then one time we even had sparkles where we put them in the ground and we print on the music right from my apartment, and then we would walk down the hill and have the music playing and the whole thing and whatever. So I mean, we would go all out with it. Like I don't know, as a kid, with you, did you go? How deep was it for you when you was just coming up doing it?
Wow, I don't know if it was that deep. That's deep, bro. That was dope. That's dope deep right there. Um, I had in the neighborhood, any neighborhood I was in, I was known as the little kid that wrestled all the time. That was all I did. And I made the cardboard belts. I think I got from the cardboard belts, I would make layered cardboard belts. So I would have like a leather piece, and then I would cut out separate pieces for the metal plates or whatever, and I would spray paint them gold, and I would carve the names in them, like heavyweight champion or whatever like that. I remember one belt I was real proud of, man. I had that thing spray painted and everything, and I spelled like heavyweight wrong. I didn't care. But like I had a Intercontinental title and all this stuff. I think I spray painted it like the belt was blue, like the leather part was blue, and I spray painted the plate part like silver or whatever like that. So yeah, I got creative in that aspect. And then I think kids in the neighborhood, we would make our own belts, and we would wrestle each other for our belts, like in the yard. We made a ring a few times. We would like made a ring out of like bamboo and rope and stuff like that. And we would get in the ring and always break the ring when we started wrestling or whatever. But then we would just end up wrestling on the ground.
Yeah, yeah, because you mainly grew up in T-Town, right?
Yeah. Grew up in Taylortown, and then around 6th grade we moved to Aberdeen, and I lived in Aberdeen until I was in high school. We moved back to Taylortown in 10th grade. So from 10th grade through high school, I lived in Taylortown, and I moved out right when I graduated from high school. I moved out of home, and that's when I
Okay.
started going to Sandhills.
Okay. Did you ever wrestle? Snake? I think his name's Snake.
Man, Big Dog, yeah, man. Lord, yeah, that joker, he used to hit me up from time to time, still talking about wrestling, man. That
Oh,
joker,
okay.
he loves some wrestling, man. The Snake, he been a Snake since day one.
Yeah, he used to get mad with me. I should call him Slither.
I love
Yeah.
what that dude's doing now, man. He's a good dude, man. But yeah, I definitely remember. And I think we probably wrestled a couple times in high school, like on the mats in the gym, because I was on the wrestling team, but I also knew that where the mats were. So we had like a 15-minute break, and then we had like a lunch break or whatever like that. And either the lunch break or the 15-minute break, we would run up to the top of the gym where the mats were, and we would wrestle like WWE wrestling on the high school wrestling mats. You know what I'm saying? And we did that for a long time until we got called by one of the coaches, and it was like, "I need to stop this. If somebody gets hurt, nobody know it until they come up here and find y'all hurt," something like that. But yeah, we had a little wrestling league at the school.
Yeah. So how hard was it when you got with the Hardy Boys? How hard was it to learn all those moves? Because I noticed that when you wrestle, you're very acrobatic. You do a lot of the high flying stuff. So how hard was it to learn all that kind of stuff?
That part wasn't hard simply because of the fact like that's what they did. So
Okay.
I was always athletic and that's what I wanted to do. But then, Matt is high fly, but he's also real technical. But Jeff is like high risk, like does everything crazy. So I would be learning how to take regular wrestling bumps, take care of myself, and all of that. And then on the other side of the ring, you see Jeff jump off the rope and do a flip or whatever like that. And I was like, man, I want to get that part. I want to get that part. And so we would learn the basics of wrestling. And then after practice, they'd be practicing moves on each other and jumping off the ropes. And they had like mats and like a whole bunch of like basically like bed mats they would pull in the ring to where you could do the flips and stuff at. And so so yeah, I had like a perfect place to train and I would come up with stuff and try to hit the target on the ring to make sure I could do it right. And then it's just practice, practice, practice. And then after a while you get it.
Okay. So when you started wrestling, do you remember your very first match?
I do, vaguely. Now I started out as a referee, and so I refereed for them for a long time, and I was proud of that. I couldn't pay for wrestling training, but they allowed me to pay for wrestling training for refereeing free at their shows. And so I would go to work, man. I'm a grown man of 18, 19 years old, refereeing these pro wrestling matches at like armories and stuff like that. And they would take me on the road with them and I would referee their matches and I was proud of it, but I was also training to wrestle. And during this time is when I started like gaining weight. At this time, because when I started with them, I probably weighed like 130 pounds or whatever like that. But I was with them for a good year, and then I started putting weight on because I was just training all the time with them. And so after a while, Matt came to me one day. He was like, "Hey, I think you're ready." And I was like, "Ready for what?" He was like to wrestle. And I think my first match was in a tag team match with a guy. He actually passed away a couple of years ago, but his son wrestles on WWE. His name is Cameron Grimes. He's in NXT. It was Cameron Grimes' dad. I was a tag team partner with, and we wrestled against like two huge dudes. And long story short, the match didn't last long. Got the tail whooped. But it was my first match, and then you just go from there. You just keep going, and yeah, it went on from there. And after that, I started getting singles matches and all. I would invite people to the show, man. And it just kept growing.
So is that like in that type of circuit, the independent circuit? I'm guessing the people that you inviting people, that's kind of how you kind of get your money, like by inviting a lot of people, or how does that work? Or does that help you like build up your cachet where they look at you as a bigger draw because people are coming to see you because you are inviting people out like that?
In hindsight, yes. In today's world, definitely. I was just happy to wrestle, and in my head, I wasn't I wasn't even thinking it was the indies because in my head, like I had made it, But and I was inviting people to watch me wrestle, whether I win or lose, and I lost for about a year straight, and then I just started winning. But like I looked at Omega as like I thought we were just as good as WWE. And in my head, I was thinking we're gonna compete with WWE one day, And so in my head, like that was it. And I was thinking the other, as I was with the Hardy Boys, we would go different places, different indies, and I felt like we were way ahead of everybody else. So in my head, like one day, WWE is gonna call us and like, we're gonna join with them or we're gonna compete against them or something like that. I'd learned the process of the indie circuit while I was in it, because outside looking in, I was just a kid that finally was, in a wrestling ring, a real wrestling ring, and really wrestling, and I just wanted everybody to see me doing it.
Okay, so I watch documentaries and different shows on wrestling, and I know a lot of it has to do with your character and how you present your character, and that's kind of how like the powers that be, how they kind of judge how they're gonna use you by how sellable you are. Because one thing I noticed with today's wrestling and back in the day, a lot of these wrestlers not believable. You know what I mean? It's almost like a gangster rapper. Like, are you really believable when I'm looking at you? And a lot of these wrestlers, they have no character. Like, they can wrestle all day, but they don't they get to talking or whatever and presenting themselves in the ring. You like, bro, just shut up and wrestle. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So how much did you work on building your characters up that made you who you are today?
I believe maybe 75% of who I am today was because of my mic ability. Like I said, I was wrestled with the Hardy Boys and I could do all the flips and all that, but then I would go places with them. When they left left to go to WWE, I went to a place called NWA Wildside, and it was like a branch off the NWA. And almost everybody there was as acrobatic as I was. They had AJ Styles, they had Crush, who's R-Truth, they had man, Joey Mercury, a lot of guys that like kind of went to WCW, WWE from there. And I was like, man, what makes me stand out? What's different about me? And of course, I was raised in the church too. I was called a preacher. I was 14 years old. So I've always been able to talk. And so I had an interview for a match, and they gave me the microphone, and I just like started cutting, and I had some catchphrases. I was like, man, I'm the show stopping, crowd popping, body rocking, pulse pounding, heart racer, the handsome face heartbreaker. I'm the man with the style, the grace, the shape, the face, the innovator, crowd motivator, commentator, complicator. I'm more devastating than a space modulator. And I like just have these catchphrases that the crowd would get hold of. And they was like, oh man, you know, this. And so I would come out and they'd be cutting the promos and stuff like that. And so it became sellable to where they was like, man, this dude is bad. And I would sit there and talk, jump in the ring with him. And then I still did the same acrobatic stuff or whatever like that. But as a bad guy, they wanted to see me get shut up. And as a good guy, they wanted to see me win. And so I became a commodity there. And that's where WWE saw me, and TNA saw me, and Ring of Honor saw me. And from that program, NWA Wildside is where I got my WWE shots and TNA shots and Ring of Honor shots.
Yeah, because when I seen you wrestle a couple of years ago, I said, man, this brother right here need to be. You need to be in WWE. Like you really, I mean, I think you could definitely be a headliner and definitely make some noise out there or whatever. Because you know, you got the whole thing. You got the whole package, the total package.
What happened with that is when I was at WWE, I don't know. At the time when I was popular, around 2000, between 2002 to 2006, it was when I was with WWE the most. And at the time, wrestling wasn't the way it is now. Right now, it's like you see black, white, everything like that. But at the time, it was kind of like they had their black guy, and then they had a black star. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so there was only room for certain people, unless you were just so popular that they was like, yo, we need this guy, or whatever like that. And so when I went to WWE, Shelton Benjamin was there, and I love him. Me and him are great friends today. But it was kind of like, you know, you got somebody like me that weighed, you know, 195 pounds, that's acrobatic. And you got somebody like Shelton Benjamin, that's 230 pounds at the time, that was coming from, you know, Michigan College, national wrestling champion, his great pedigree or whatever like that. And it's like, well, who you going to choose, you know? And so I felt myself always in the race against who's the greater black guy. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of tough because in that era, it kind of made us look at each other weird. You know what I'm saying? Like when I first met Shelton Benjamin, you know, I come up and shook his hand. He was like, hey, but in the back of his head too, it's kind of like, this joker wants my job. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I didn't understand it then, but like the more you're in wrestling, you're like, wow, like I get it, because everybody that comes in, when you are that commodity, the person that has that job looks at you like, who's this guy? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so I got deep enough with WWE to where I started getting in meetings and all. And I had a meeting with Laurinaitis, and I was talking to him, and I told him that, you know, hey, I do this, I do that. And he kind of knew a little bit who I was, but he wasn't like, yo, Caprice Coleman's this and that. And he was like, well, can you dance? Can you sing? Can you rap? And I was like, no, but I can talk, no, and I can do this. And he was like, okay, well, man, what if you did this? And everything I felt like he was talking to me about was so stereotypical.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, I can't do that. Like if I got on TV and tried to be a gangster, people would read a real gangster or people that really know would read straight through it because they would know I was playing a part. You know what I'm saying? And I believe that, people say, well, all black people don't do this, all black people do that. Well, some of us do. You know what I'm saying? There are some black people that dance. There are some black people that sing. There are some black people that are gangsters. There are also some intelligent black people. They're intelligent black people that dance, sing, and dance. You know what I'm saying? And gangster, whatever. But like, I didn't want to be put in a stereotypical role that wasn't true to me. And so that's when I was like, man, this is crazy. And I went overseas. I ended up taking a contract job in Kuwait, and I went overseas, and I quit wrestling because I was like, I'm never going to make it. Because when I got to where I was trying to go to, I was offered the offer I had. It wasn't like they was going to sign me if I did this, but the offer they gave me was something that was so stereotypical to me. Like it just put a bad taste in my mouth. And so I ended up taking a contract job in Kuwait. And in Kuwait, I was there for 3 years, but then I turned on the TV and Crime Time come to WWE. And like, so they were getting ready for a role for Crime Time or whatever. And I believe Shad Gaspard and his tag team partner, they fit that role to the T, man. They killed, what I'm saying? But I wouldn't have been able to do that. You know what I'm saying? And so it kind of put a bad taste in my mouth to where they only saw us if we weren't this outstanding person that was ridiculously popular somewhere else. We had to be brought in as a character that was stereotypical to everybody else, and so that's when I went to overseas, and I thought I had gave wrestling up and I couldn't give it up. So I started trying to start an independent circuit in Kuwait. Couldn't do it because Kuwait, wrestling was illegal because WWE came there one time as WWF, and Big Van Vader was there, and he had slapped an interviewer because the interviewer tried to get smart and say, isn't this stuff fake? Try to like do it. And Vader like grabbed him and was like shaking him or whatever like that. So the state of Kuwait, or the country of Kuwait, whatever you view it as, made wrestling illegal there. And so I was nowhere near popular enough to get the ban lifted, but the timing was impeccable because there was somebody else that they'd have some weight trying to get a wrestling show there. And so they introduced us to, and I started wrestling with them, and that's how I ended up becoming part of the wrestling organization in the Middle East. And I still have the King of Ladders Championship. I won that back right before the pandemic. Or whatever, and it took off from there. And I was like, man, I want to go back home and wrestle. And so I go back home, and we moved back to the United States, and I made my phone calls or whatever like that. And that's the first time where I realized that my age started to matter, because I was talking to D'Lo Brown on the phone. He was an agent at TNA at the time, and they were getting ready to revamp the X Division title for TNA, and he was talking to me and getting ready to bring me in and all. And he was like, well, what year were you born? They was getting information. And when I told him 1977, he was like, 1977? You 35? And I was, yeah. I was 30. I was late at the time. I don't know the exact age I was, but I remember his response. The age mattered to him. You know what I mean? And I realized that, man, I'm on like a clock to where, like, they want to be able to, if they hire you, they want to know that they can invest in you and get some years out of you. And when I came back in country, even though I was respected to WWE and to like TNA, I was at an age to where unless I was just like phenomenal, they weren't going to invest in me because I was too old, And so Ring of Honor called me. And they said, hey, we see you back. And they said, we're getting ready to start a television program. And we want to know, do you think you could hold a full-time schedule? I was like, yeah, of course. And so they said, okay, we don't know when it's going to happen, but when it does, we definitely give you a call, and we'd like you to be part of it. I was like, cool. And so I'm still wrestling indies here and there. I went back to NWA Wildside, or whatever, and start wrestling there again. Just kind of just keep wrestling going. I definitely was hitting the indie circuit there when I got back. And then Ring of Honor called me and they said, "Hey man, we got the deal we was looking for." They got signed with Sinclair Broadcast, and which is who they are with now. And they said, "We want to bring you in. We had an idea to bring you in as a tag team where you're going to be mentoring this young wrestler, and it'd be like a mentor-mentee tag team." And I was like, "All right, cool. Who is he?" And he said, his name is Cedric Alexander." And I was like, "Oh, okay, I know that kid." And Cedric Alexander, when I got back in country, I made all my phone calls and I was telling people like, "Yeah, I'm back and this and that." As well. "How much do you charge?" And I was like, "Well, I charge this much." It's like, "Man, we can get Cedric for this much." I was like, "Okay." And so then I would make another phone call or whatever, like, "How much you charge?" "I charge this much." "We can get Cedric for this much." Like, who is Cedric? Like, who is this dude? And so I took a wrestling booking one time and I saw Cedric was on the show. And I was like, "Who's this dude taking all my bookings, man?" Every time I call somebody and they said, "We can get Cedric for this much." I was like, it can't be that good. And so I'm on the show, and my brother at the time, I call him my brother, but we're like really good friends. He saw Cedric too, and so I was like, "Man, this is the guy everybody's talking about." And I was like, he looks small. We see him, and like I'm more built than he is, or whatever. He comes up, young man, comes, shakes our hands, so nice. And I was shaking everybody's hand in the locker room. And I shook his hand, "Nice to meet you," whatever like that. But the back of my head, same way like Shelton Benjamin was when I was in WWE. I was like, "Well, who's this guy? Who's this new black guy on the scene?" You know what I mean? And so, man, we went and watched this match, and I want to say he was one of the first matches of the show because I was the main event that night. He was one of the first matches on the show, and within 30 seconds of watching this guy, I was like, "Yo, this dude's got it." Like, he was young, he was athletic, and he just had that it factor. And that night we exchanged numbers or whatever, and we would go to different wrestling seminars, and he'd be there, and I would pick. I said, "Well, you stay on that side of the room, and I stay on this side of the room, because they see us together, they're gonna make us a tag team." And so that was kind of like our laughing thing or whatever. So we would do different things with NWA and different promotions or whatever, and we would end up in the same place, and but we were friends at the time. I was like, "Man, we need to stop this brothers hating brothers because of the spots or whatever, and just like love each other." You know what I mean? And he was like, "Yeah, I love that type of stuff." So when Ring of Honor called and was like, "Yes, Cedric Alexander," like, I laughed, and we got to the show at the same time. It was the first time we had like saw each other, knowing that we was gonna work together or whatever, and we just busted out laughing. And the first match we had was the first time we ever tagged with each other, and we wrestled at the team at the name at that time they were named like Future Shock or something like that. It was Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly, and they were part of NXT for. I don't know if you watch WWE now, you know who Adam Cole is. He's actually on AEW, and Kyle O'Reilly, he was NXT champion there as well. And so we had a great match with them, and we just had like ridiculous chemistry, man. And he did what he did. He's at WWE now. And so I've learned to support my friends, man, with the age that I'm at, just to show love and show support in whatever they're doing. And so when he makes it, I'm not jealous. I'm part of him. So part of me is there. And there are other guys that I've trained and I've went up with. That when I see them in WWE, AEW, and all that, it's like I'm happy for them because they're there, and it's like I'm there. And I've been with Ring of Honor since 2011. And everybody's like, "Oh, you're gonna make it to WWE one day." And like, if that happens, great. But Ring of Honor showed me years and years ago that I'm not a number there. Like, I'm part of the family. And during the pandemic, I've been on salary with them for a few years now, to where I get paid per month. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And during the pandemic, they never changed anything. During the pandemic, the place everybody wanted to go, WWE, fired 100 people. During the pandemic, Ring of Honor hired people that were at a place to where they couldn't hold a regular job because they were only wrestling. But when the world shut down, these people were like going homeless and stuff. And Ring of Honor brought some of these people on just to make sure they don't go homeless. And so people say, oh man, one day you're gonna make it to WWE. If that we cross that bridge when it gets to it. But I'm at a place now to where I make good money. I can take care of my family. I'm not a number. I'm part of the family. I'm a broadcaster now. And I still stay in shape to wrestle, but I'm a commentator. And I'm like, sometimes we look at the big picture, but it's just like acting, man. There are popular actors like Denzel Washington and Chadwick Boseman and all those guys. But then there are guys that are on TV every day that you just don't know their name, as popular as Denzel Washington and all that. But they live good lives. And that's me.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny you said something because you was the first person who I ever known to take with them $100,000 jobs over in Kuwait. Like doing that the independent thing, because I remember my wife was saying, "Yeah, you need to look into that or whatever." Because I had just not like too long got out the military, and I was looking for something to get into, and then she was like, "Yeah, you need to get into that." And then I think a couple of people I came across a couple of companies that ended up being like fraudulent companies that were lying to people about putting them on, and it was kind of a crazy time frame or whatever. I wish I'd have known. I wish I could have got in contact with you, like, brother, how can I actually get on? Because everybody I'm talking to, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, my cousin actually, when I had went through that stuff with WWE, not long after that, I was over my aunt's house, and my cousin, she worked in Iraq and Kuwait or whatever like that. She was coming home to visit one day, and I mean the timing was like crazy, man. God is so awesome, man. All this stuff just happened like pow, 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 pow. I couldn't map this stuff out. You know what I'm saying? But she had came to visit everybody, and we're talking to her or whatever. And she saw me walk through the door, and she was like, "Yo, what are you doing now?" I was like, "Chilling." I'm working. I was working at a plant. At this time, I think I was working at a plant or something like that. And I had went to college, and I was like a supervisor at the plant. So I had a degree in manufacturing engineering or whatever. And she was like, "You ever thought about going overseas?" And I was like, "For what?" And she was like, "To work." And she explained it to me, and like she walked me through the whole process of getting my passport and doing this or whatever. And I had just gotten married, and I was like, "Well, I have to leave my family." She was like, "I don't know." She said, "Because there are couples over there that that come over there too, but you would have to go first." And I was like, "All right, well, let me look into it." And I looked into it just thinking like, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You know what I mean? And so I had my passport and all that. And she called me back, not even maybe a week later, and she was like, "Yo, they got your application. They want you to come over." And I was like, "What?" And I had like 2 weeks to get ready to move to Kuwait. You know what I mean? And so like I'm packing up stuff and I went, man, and it was good. And then like I was there a month, and I was able to bring my wife over, and like we had to sell everything. We're putting everything in storage and getting our family, gave our family a car and gave another family member a car and all. And here we are in Kuwait, man. And they was like, "You gonna get killed over there? They're shooting and killing people." And my cousin was like, "They are, but not where we are, not in Kuwait." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we learned the law of the lands there, and we were there for 3 years. And like that's how it happened. And if you're still interested in going, I got the hookup. Holla if you hear me.
Oh, they still doing that?
Yeah, it's just different companies, but I got a friend of mine, and she said they're hiring. So I'm always in contact. Because like I was there for 3 years, man, and you become family. After a while, you kind of adopt your own family. You know what I mean? And a lady friend of ours is still there. She's a preacher over there. She has a church over there actually now, and she still works over there. And like, every once in a while, somebody calls and say, "Hey, man, y'all still do that overseas stuff?" I'm like, yeah, I have contact. I'm not going back over there anytime soon. Because I mean, that time for me, I've done it. Whatever. If I have to do it, I know I can. But God worked it out to where I don't have to do that. You know what I mean? But like I have contacts that if I needed to, I can. And if there was somebody that's serious enough about it, I know how to point them in the right directions.
Well, how was the culture over there? How was it being over there?
It's a Muslim country, man, and you learn to respect it, but being over there also makes you learn to respect America a lot more, because like America truly is like the land of the free, the home of the brave, where you are free. And I love Muslim countries, and it opened my eyes actually, because on the news here, Muslim countries are portrayed as certain things. Over there, they're just like a religious country to where, their religion is Islam, and they live it like 3 times a day. Like the mosque bell rings, and no matter what you're doing, you hear that bell. They stop. They'll stop in the road. They stop wherever, and they'll do their prayer or whatever. Like they're that serious, and the laws are made around that religion. So after a while, you just get it, and you respect what they're doing because you see a country living here in America. You could be whatever you believe in, whatever you want to believe. You know what I'm saying? There, if you weren't you didn't have to be a Muslim, but if you were something else, you had to find a place to worship. So with me being a Christian or whatever, it wasn't a big deal because I worked on base and they had churches on base. But I was also a preacher, and anytime I preached off base, I was preaching at somebody's house or in a basement. It was like churches they had made that were like legit underground churches, to where you pull into a parking lot and park, and you go downstairs in the basement, and that's where the church is. And like if people found out where the church was, they would have to change location, stuff like it was like that, man. And they had other places where there was like a big one place where they had this big like Christian church thing and it was the first time, man, I saw like a real interracial church. And it wasn't just like a church you go here where you see black people, you see white people. It was there where you saw people from like India, Sri Lanka, Australia, Russia, all Christians, and would go to this one campground, and that's where they had like church at. And it was, I guess, Kuwait allowed that to happen or whatever. So once you learn the culture and you learn, what they're doing or whatever like that, you just adapt to it and respect it. And I still respect it now. I have friends there in the Middle East and working with Qatar Pro Wrestling and all, to where you just learn to love people, man. And I think that the love language of the world is love and respect. And if you show love and respect to whatever anybody's believing, not only does it let them love and respect you, but if you are saying I'm a Christian or I'm a that, and you are open to and you're if you are approachable, if people can talk to you and they really want to know more about you, you don't turn them off at the door. And so many people, they say, oh, I'm this or that, but I don't talk to these people. I don't talk to that. Like, man, I talk to anybody, I listen to anybody, because I know who I am. I know what I am, I know what I stand for. But I'm not going to judge and beat somebody down just because they don't believe what I believe. But I'm going to live that life in front of you. And then if you're curious about it, I could tell you about my life, So that's just the way I go.
It's kind of funny because go ahead, Jacob.
It's the first time I heard you talk,
how was
man.
that transition?
I was like, yo.
Yeah. So how was that transition from the States going to a whole nother country, and from like, how did you kind of survive maintain your diet? Because you're an athletic brother, and it's certain foods that I'm pretty sure you was eating in America. So how did you get those foods to maintain your diet, to maintain your metabolism, and to really maintain your physique as far as working out, man? How was that workout over there as well? Because I know the workout probably transitioned, because when you work out in America, you have access to a lot of different things that they may not have overseas in a country like that. So how was that transition for you?
It was actually pretty dope, to be honest, man, because over there, pork is illegal, but they have gyms just like everything else. But like I said, I worked on base, and on base, they had like really good gyms because it's a military base. And then they have like the store that you go to where, you go in the store, they got proteins and they got this and that. And actually, I got in better shape over there because I wasn't wrestling. So my body was healing up. I had access to a gym, and I was getting fed like 3 times a day. And so I had good food, you know what I'm saying? And I was able to buy the supplements that I wanted to put on muscle. So I was in good shape when I went there, but when I came back home, like I was in a totally different shape, and it just allowed me to grow there. And then, like I said, pork was illegal there. And so I didn't know I had stopped eating pork. I was just eating the food they had. And I was like, I'm not the type of person that I don't eat that, I don't eat this. if I see you eating it and enjoy it, I'll try it. Now, don't be sitting there eating something and then it's disgusting and you like, it's terrible tasting. Nah, that wasn't a good commercial, bro. You could have that. But if you eating something and it seems like it's good to you, I try it. So I was able to try a lot of their food that I like or whatever, and knew how it was made. So eating really wasn't a problem. It really opened my taste buds up to other stuff, because I think a lot of people, man, they eat like the same 5 things like every week, just mixed up different ways. And it helped me broaden my taste buds and broaden the way I look at food. So I like food from all type of cultures now.
Yeah, because it's kind of
so the way we grew up looking at wrestling, like with Wahoo McDaniel and Ricky the Steamboat Dragon and people like Black Jack Mulligan and Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair and the Minnesota Wrecking Crew and all these guys. So from what I see, wrestling has transitioned so much. So the last time I really had fun watching wrestling, bro, is probably the Stone Cold Rock and Triple H era, Cactus Jack, Bang Bang, So how's the transition to you as a professional wrestler, a champion, but also as a announcer? You know what I mean? So how has that changed for you? Because you've been in it way more in depth than me. I was just a viewer, a fan, but you've been in it on the business side. So how has that changed?
Man, you was hitting some heads with Black Jack Mulligan, Dusty Rhodes, Rock and Roll Express, all those guys. But that's my childhood right there. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I think. Right. And then the Attitude Era is what you're talking about when I think wrestling was at its peak with Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, and all these guys. And then on the other side, you had like the NWO or whatever. So that was like wrestling, I think, was at a peak to where everybody was watching it, and then it kind of went to a place to where now people still watch it, but it's like a genre. You know what I mean? It's like you're not gonna turn on TV and see pro wrestling. It's like a certain amount of people that watch it or whatever like that, and it's still great. You still make a great living, because I hate to say it, but there are porn stars that make millions and millions of dollars, but nobody ride down the street with porn stars billboard signs. Somehow they make a lot of money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so like right. It's still a great commodity, and people still love it. But the way it's changed for me is like with WWE, they're trying to get as many viewers as possible. So they'll change up their program to make it PG, so they get kids. They'll stretch the mark so they get adults, and then they'll put a star up there from another country to get viewers from another country. You know what I'm saying? So it's become more of a business thing. And with me, I just learned to learn the trends enough not to get left behind. And so with wrestling or whatever, when I was given the opportunity to do commentary, because I wasn't like, I'm gonna quit wrestling, I'm gonna do commentary. It was just I was wrestling, and because of my mouth, I would get spots like when I was tag team partners with Cedric Alexander, I was pretty much the one that would cut the promos, and he would put in fillers or whatever like that. And then no matter what they would do with me with Ring of Honor, I was pretty much the mouthpiece wherever I went. And so when I was doing like some manager stuff, I think Eddie came to one of my shows where I wrestled in Atlanta. And at the time when he saw me, I was part of a faction that was like rebelling against the country, against the company or whatever like that. And like I was the mouthpiece of that faction or whatever. And so one of my faction members would be wrestling, and I would be on commentary. And after that, it's like it just became popular. It's like, man, you're like really good at this commentary stuff. And not only did they think I was good, but they allowed me to learn on the job. And I think that's really rare with people from our culture, because you can hear, white people like, oh man, I wanted to do this. And I went there and I put in the application, and lo and behold, I got a job. And man, I deserve this. But like us, it's like you almost have to be great before you can get an opportunity, But I can say that Ring of Honor allowed me to learn a commentary on the job. And I didn't even know I was learning. It's just, I would just get put there a lot, as a guest commentator. and then things got moved around and enough to where the color commentator at the time, he wanted to wrestle, and so he went back to wrestling. Then he ended up leaving the company, going to another company, and I was there as a color commentator. And then like I did it as a trial basis with them, but then like it got popular enough to where they offered me a job there, and so I went from wrestling to like commentary, and I took it because I want to say around the age 38, I was looking at myself. I'm like, man, I'm 38 years old. There's no way in the world I can wrestle for the rest of my life. And that was like I was looking at that movie, The Wrestler, or whatever like that. I was like, I don't want to be that guy that's like that dies in the ring because he doesn't know when to give it up. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so I was praying for a transition, and it happened, man. And like they allowed me to do commentary, and I was still finding my niche. And now, man, I've done commentary all over America. I've done it in Japan. I get called to do places to do it, and then like I'm still in shape to wrestle, so I still wrestle now as well. But Ring of Honor allowed me to wrestle because it was like I'm a commentator, but they was like, we need you to stay in shape just in case, we need you to come in the ring and do something. So kind of like if I had to compare myself to somebody, and to me it is what it is, I'm kind of like a modern day Jerry Lawler, because it's like on WWE, I'm an announcer that wrestles, but I don't really wrestle a lot on WWE. Like Jerry the King Lawler, you knew he was a wrestler, but he didn't wrestle a lot. But every once in a while he would do something. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But in Tennessee, Jerry Lawler was the man. You know what I'm saying? Jerry Lawler would bring all these WWE guys in and wrestle. So I'm kind of like a modern day Jerry Lawler, because on Ring of Honor, I wrestle every once in a while, but in North Carolina, like I'm the man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever like that. So it's kind of, if you look at it, I'm kind of like a modern day Jerry Lawler.
Okay. So what?
So you're a celebrity, right?
Say again?
I said, so you this world now, like I can tell you're a humble guy, but being a humble guy, being a church boy, being a pastor, and being a wrestler, and being a trash talker that, a trash talker that's a pretty boy. You know what I mean? So with that being said, man, the attention that you get from the United States, overseas, locally, statewide, and from back home, when people see you back home that grew up with you, and they be like, wow, man, like, this is our guy. Sort of like Eddie. Sort of like Icon. Like, he was like, I grew up with this dude, and don't let him fool you, bro. He was totally excited about you coming on this show, bro. Like,
love, man.
This my man.
I said that.
Bro.
I said that.
Like when he said he was so modest, he was not that modest about it. This my man, 50 grand from the crib. Like, the artist is in for a treat. You are too, Jacob, man. Like, brace your seatbelt on. He's definitely gonna take us for a ride. So, it's out there. So, we all have those friends from the crib, man, that went further than anybody think that they can go, man. So I commend you to follow your dreams, and first of all, commend you to put in God first while you navigate through your journey, man. Like, that's awesome. That's amazing, man. You know what I mean? And here you are, all over the world, using your voice for what you was made to do, and people still want you to be in wrestling shape. That's crazy, man. That's amazing, man. You've been like in wrestling since you was 3-4 years old, 5 or 6.
Yeah, it's all God, man. Like he showed me his love, man. He hits me up every once in a while, man. It's all love, and like I don't take it for granted, man, because it's like he's one of the people that I remember growing up. That's like that knows me. You know what I'm saying? So when I see him doing stuff, it's like we prosper. Like, he got his show. He's like, yo, man, I got this. I say less. Like, when? What day? What? What you doing? Because I'm gonna do it. Because like he's like a brother to me. You know what I'm saying? And it's like that's what we do, man. Like, whatever we doing, we do that. And like the love he showed me, like what you said, he was excited. Like, I'm just excited to be here, because it's like that's how we do it. That's how we support each other. And it is love. Like we had T-Town Day a couple of weeks ago, and like the mayor of T-Town wanted me to come and bring my belts. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. And so I'm walking down the street on this parade in Taylortown. I was wearing one belt, and this other guy that was with me, he was like, can I hold this one? I was like, sure. he's walking around like he's but he was part of like the political team or whatever. Like I just let it go. But like the people that saw me, they was like, yo, they were just showing me so much love, man. And like I thank God for that, man, because it's like you're right. Because I'm not gonna say I'm a celebrity. I think I'm famous enough to where if I got on Twitter and tweeted something that was racist or off color or against like a certain genre, I'd be famous overnight and canceled. I'm that type of famous. Like, you know what I'm saying? But like to get love from home or whatever like that is real, man. It's real success actually, because these people look at you, they knew what you wanted to do when you was growing up, and then to see you doing it, it kind of inspires them as well. And so like with Ed, man, like you could talk about the stuff, like even with him doing shows, it's like back where we grew up at, that's kind of off schedule because we were supposed to get a job and work. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But for somebody to say, no, I want to do this podcast. No, I want to have a TV show. No, I want to be a host. Or I want to do radio. And they're like, that's weird. It's all right. I'm going to do it. And so when people step outside the box, I'm that guy that's like, word, do that. Like, do it. Because there's a world out there of people that's doing it. And like, when I lived in Moore County, I felt the same way. But then I moved to Charlotte and I see these DJs that were doing the DJs, but they would cut hair on the side. They taught me how to follow my dream and have something on the side until your dream made enough money to where your full-time job became your part-time job and you switched it up. You know what I mean? And so like, I love all of it. You know what I'm saying? I love people that's in it, man. I encourage it, bro, because like the dream stuff is real. I believe when we were little, we knew what we were supposed to do. As we got older, we talked ourselves out of it because it might not have been popular. It might not have been what other people wanted to do, or it might not have been the thing that we thought was cool at the time. You know what I'm saying? But I believe when we're born, we already know what we're supposed to do or what we're supposed to walk in. You know what I mean? And so all we can do is walk in that. And when you walk into it, your destiny is guiding you to your destiny. You know what I'm saying? So here you are thinking, oh, I'm gonna be this or whatever. You just walking down the line of what your dream is following. But lo and behold, this gate that you turn to, boom, opens up your destiny. But it wouldn't happen until you start following that dream. You know what I'm saying? So I encourage people to start doing that, man, because it's real. It's inside of you to do it. And if you don't do it, somebody else is going to do it, but they can't do it like you do it because it's you.
And that's right. One thing I always talk about people is as far as like, you know, where we come from, most people don't understand when you have a dream outside of that world.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They don't think they can accomplish that, whatever whatever you set your mind out to be. And I've always thought outside the box. That's why I always respected and commended you, because ever since I known you, that's all you ever talked about was wrestling and being in that world or whatever. So, and so my thing is, how often are you out now? Because I remember we had a conversation at one time. You was like, I don't, WWE, I know they wrestle like 300 days out of the year. You was like, you got a family, you ain't want to commit all of that like that. And then now it's like, being that you're on the commentating side more than the wrestling side, how often are you really like on the road?
Man, I was on the road a lot before the pandemic. Enough to where, sad to say, I was on the road enough to where when I got home, my kids and my family like, hey, daddy's home. And I would be home for a week and they'd be like, he's still here.
Wow. That's how I am with my job.
Okay. Yeah, and so I would be gone for we would do tours for a week or whatever. But then after the pandemic, man, like everything shut down and we didn't do shows for like a month. No, for like 6 months. And then we brought it back to where everybody had to do the COVID test and get tested. And we had to do like COVID tests before and after and during. And we was in like the same NWA bubble I was in, staying in your room at the hotel, not being able to leave the room and all of that. So we started doing closed house TV tapings, which is like no crowd TV tapings. And we still do those now. We'll continue to do those through the end of the year. But like we tape them in lump sum. And now we're at a point now where we have live pay-per-views. So we have a crowd at the pay-per-views, and then the next day or the next few days, because we're there for like a week, where you record a TV tape. Or where the pandemic has changed a lot of stuff, man. And I think different people have responded to it different ways. But I respect the way Ring of Honor has done it, because like they're serious about it. And like I know people that's caught this thing. I know people that's died from it. I know like over 7 people that I know personally that died from this thing. So I know it's not no jive, you know what I mean? And so I got vaccinated. I'm not pushing it. I'm not putting, but like I got vaccinated and like other people got vaccinated. Some people do, some people don't. I think it's your business, whatever you do. But like I felt comfortable with myself and my family with is traveling as much as I did to get vaccinated because I'm around people that travel all the time. You know what I'm saying? And so I did it, and like a lot of people in the crew did it. And so when we go to Ring of Honor, we still have to take that COVID test when we land before we perform. And it's so rapid now. But like to be honest with you, yo, like not this TV taping, nobody had COVID. But every TV taping before, it would be 1 or 2 people that would have COVID and not know it. And it's scary when you're an athlete that you can carry this Jones and not even know it and give it to somebody else and kill them. And you got something that's not affecting you at all. And you go visit your grandma, give her a hug and a kiss, and there's a kiss of death. Like this is what we're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? And so to be in a world to where you see people get these tests all the time, and somebody that you just saw walk in the room had COVID, and this joker look as healthy as you do, but it doesn't affect them. They don't know. It's not like they walked and said, "I got this thing and I'm gonna give it to everybody." It's like it just affects people different. So you're carrying this thing and don't even know it, and you go home, like I said, and dap somebody up, give somebody a hug, and you kiss them, and that's it. Or you know what I'm saying? So like I found out if it's that serious, man, I'm gonna listen to the people that's smarter than me, and I'm gonna do what they say do in my heart that I feel is right. You know what I'm saying? Whether it comes out later and I have 3 years, 2 years from now, or 10 toes on one hand, I don't care. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like I'm do what I feel like I need to do.
So who's the wrestlers
right.
that you've met over the years that you know, like you say, oh, I know I made it now because I met this person and whatever, and I've been in the presence of this wrestler, that wrestler. Who's the wrestler that you met, and then also, what's your biggest accomplishment of all in the time that you've been wrestling?
Oh man, the biggest wrestler, man, Ric Flair. I met Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, Sting. I'm friends with like Shelton Benjamin, MVP, Mark Henry, Nikita Koloff, like these people that hit me up on the regular. Bobby Eaton, Midnight Express. I'm friends with Jim Cornette. Yeah, Kevin Kelly. Like it's crazy because I'm listening to things and I'm sure like the Fantastics, like man, like people I grew up. I'm friends with Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson. Like I'm friends with like everybody AEW. You know what I'm saying? Like I know all those guys. A lot of people at WWE now. I'm friends. Like I know. You know what I'm saying? Like Seth Rollins and Daniel Bryan, Kevin Owens. Like I know wrestling is this big family, man. It's like people like, oh, go to this place. When you get to a point where you just want to see your friends eat, you know what I'm saying? You just want them to be eating, and you see them get a job and they eat, and you like, word, so and so made it. It's not like, oh, you go in there, that's our competition. We don't like you no more. It's like, nah, we slept in hotel rooms together on the floor. Now you buying a house because you followed through the dream. You made that jump. You made it. It don't matter where you at. You made it. You know what I'm saying? So I would say like those are some of the people that I know, and I know I'm missing somebody. I say my greatest accomplishment. Oh man, I don't know. Traveling the country, getting paid to travel the world. Like I've traveled the world and not had to pay a dime to do it, man. I've been in countries.
That's great, man. That's real. That's real good. Man, wow.
Yeah.
And he said he met my boy, the Nature Boy. Woo.
Yeah. Hey,
yes, sir,
I feel you, bro. I feel you, brother. That's all God right there. That's all God, because you came a long way. Huh?
Well,
bad, man. It's real, bro.
So when you a kid.
Say what?
Right. So when you a kid, bro, And when you win, when you got your friends over and y'all playing pickup basketball or pickup softball or a bad man pick me up football, and and you standing in the winners bracket and you say, I mean, I feel like Ric Flair, and you be like, "Woo!" Them boys get mad, man. Them boys get mad, man, because Ric Flair was a bragful, boastful, Goldilocks, sparkling, shiny robe, Rolex wearing, stealing your girl, put her in the limousine, dropping her back off to your house while you cry on your shoulder. That's the nature boy. So, that's who he was. So when you put that nature boy signature in somebody's face, they get mad, bro.
Yeah,
they get mad.
Yeah. I was
For real.
still a huge fan of Flair, not only because of who Flair is, and like he's always, to me, it's like when I met Ric Flair, and I think this is how you make it in the sport, man. It's like you meet some people. Sometimes you meet somebody you've always wanted to meet, and it's disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But like Ric Flair was somebody that I met that when I introduced myself to him, he stopped. He talked to me, put his hand on my shoulder, and like we sat and talked for like some time. And then like after we talked, I was like, yo, like Ric Flair just like sat and talked with me. This is crazy. This is the first time I met him. And then like I meet him like other times. He's like, hey, what's up, man? He chopped me. And like he chopped me. And I'm like, it's the coolest thing. Like if Ric Flair likes you or whatever, like you be talking, he would walk past you, and instead of holding a conversation, he just like, woo, and he just chop you. Like he just plays. That's the way he plays. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you chop by Ric Flair, you're like, yeah, that's cool. Like that's cool. That's cool. Like, you know what I mean? And so like, yeah. So all that stuff that you say and like making people mad at school by Ric Flair dripping on them, and then they get chopped by this dude just out of conversation or just him walking by you because y'all on the same show and he recognizing you and chopping you, like that's crazy, man. Like that's real crazy, bro. That's real crazy.
Hey, have you ever been in the ring and somebody like 2-3 times bigger than you, and then they come down and you be like, well, what was I ever thinking? So you ever been in the ring, like I don't know if you ever been in the ring like with an Undertaker or somebody like on that level, on that size, and you like, well, what was I thinking?
Yeah, a few times, man. Sometimes when I would go to WWE, I would get put up against like these huge guys like Gene Snitsky and Chris Masters, and it's guys that you're wrestling, and while you're wrestling this guy, you're like, this guy probably could break me in half if he wanted to, but he's a professional, and I'm just gonna do my job here. You know what I'm saying? And even now, I have friends in Ring of Honor that are like legit, like MMA fighters that are like legit, that you're working with this guy and you're like, this dude could snap and like kill me if you wanted to. You know what I'm saying? And so like to be in the presence of people that really could do that stuff, but they're professional enough, to do their job, it's really cool, man. It's really cool. But yeah, I've definitely been in situations. I've been in matches that I don't do like the crazy, the craziest match I do is a ladder match, and I guess because I'm the only ladder champion in the world, I'm the king of ladders. I guess that's pretty cool, But like I've never been like one that does like the barbed wire matches or the first blood matches and all that stuff. Because like I ain't messing up my face, like you know what I'm saying. I ain't doing that.
So have you ever met New Jack? You ever met New Jack?
Oh man, Lord, yeah, me and New Jack good friends, man. Like yeah, I've had matches with. I got hit in the head by New Jack. New Jack's hit me in the head. Matter of fact, my brother, the guy that mentored me, was I think one of the last people to get hit in the head with a chair by New Jack. And then like we was with New Jack like a couple of weeks before he died, man. Like he was at a show, and he was going through a lot, man. Like he he had a problem to where he can't sleep. Like he can like literally stay up for like 72 hours with no sleep. You know what I'm saying? And so he was at the show, man, and you could tell he was like going through a lot. And so when he does sleep, he might sleep for like 2 days, like 2 days straight. You know what I'm saying? There's something wrong with him. Like it's like this thing, man. It weighs on your body, man. Like this sport, man, in the entertainment world, and if you intertwine the sport with the entertainment world and the lifestyle, and you mix it up, bro, you can make yourself have a hard life. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, he went through a lot, man. But he was definitely somebody. He's called me preacher man, and he had a good heart because like New Jack was New Jack, but when he talked to me, he was Jerome. You know what I'm saying? And it's like he was just that dude that's like, I know I said this, but what do you think about that? And he was like, he asked me about some Bible stuff, and like we talked, man. Like he was that dude. Like he was real. If he liked you, he liked you. If he didn't like you, he didn't like you. He wasn't one that was gonna like not like you and smile in your face. If he didn't like you and you said something to him, he's like, you know, I don't like you. What do you want? Like he was that type of person. You know what I mean? Like, he was as real as it gets.
Yeah. So, so one other thing I want to ask you to, because you kind of touched on like the wear and tear it has on your body, and I read, I don't know how true it is, you had a spinal injury.
Oh man, yeah, my a lot of I've had more injuries in the gym than I've had in the ring, but I was into powerlifting or whatever, and I was deadlifting, and man, like I could deadlift like well over 500 pounds and squat same and all that stuff. But while I was learning to do that stuff, man, like my back gave out on it, and like it started with back issues, you know, and that's when I really started like hurting in wrestling, you know, because I was still trying to wrestle. Like I have like a date to do something. I just got hurt in the gym, and I was like, oh man, I still got to make this show. I got to make this money, and so I'd be wrestling hurt. You know, and my knees, I had like ACL tears, meniscus tears, and all this stuff. Like I've been down injury lane, man. And but like your body, when I went to Kuwait, my body was allowed to heal. You know what I'm saying? And like I was away from wrestling, my body like healed itself, regenerated itself. And then when I came back, I was a new person. And so yeah, it's I needed that, I guess. But like, yeah. But the people that wrestle over and over and over and over and over again, you know, sometimes you get to a point where you're wrestling hurt and you don't want to be replaced. And so like you do what you need to do to get in that ring. And I thank God that I'm in position now to where, you know, my bread and butter is behind the microphone and not in the ring, and I'm able to wrestle when I want to. And I'm still successful at it, you know. And so I know I say it a lot, but it's just real, man. It's so real that it's a blessing, bro. Like when you think about, not only was I able to follow my dream, but God worked it out to where I already have a transition in place to where I could do this thing for the rest of my life. Like it's crazy.
Yeah. So a couple more questions. I'll let you get out of here. You know what I'm saying? We took up a lot of your time already. So
I set aside time for this. I know we've been on here for an hour, but when you said to be on your show, I was like, I ain't doing nothing else.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So what's the craziest thing that you ever seen, like since the time you've been wrestling? What's something you could talk about that you be like that's like craziest thing you like you could actually talk about?
New Jack. Oh man. New Jack. Just joking, man. Like we was at a show in Georgia, and he was wrestling. He was wrestling like the Rough Riders or whatever these guys' name were. Something happened in the ring. Like New Jack was New Jack, and I think he might have did something in the ring that they weren't expecting. And so after the match, they was like, "You gotta understand, man. When you're in that ring, we letting you do this, and you taking advantage of us. You doing that." You just like whatever I did to you in the ring, I can do to you anytime I want to. Them jokers went outside, bro, and I promise to God, it was like a movie scene, bro. New Jack, bro, that joker, he one of them jokers. If he gonna fight you, the last thing he gonna use is his fist.
Yeah.
And yeah. Wow. And that, oh man.
Yeah.
That boy, hey, New Jack was the truth, bro. That New Jack, it was too big. These dudes, I forget what their name was, but I know like they tagged like the Rough Riders or whatever. They're like two big white dudes, and they were like both over 6'5", like 275, or whatever at New Jack. And boy, I tell you what, if you ever watch cartoons and you see them fighting the cartoons and all you see is smoke in the clouds, and then you see the result, that's New Jack. You don't know what happened. You don't know what happened. All you saw was New Jack entering this cloud of smoke and walk back out.
So a lot of things. You into football at all?
Not much, man. I like most of my time, man. I try to spend with my family, or if I'm watching TV. I don't really watch a lot of TV anymore. To be honest with you, man, unless it's like work related, or whatever. I love football, but like I ain't even gonna try to lie to you, make it seem like I keep up with this and keep up with that. Like I don't have the time.
Yeah. Okay. You got any more questions, Jacob?
Nah, man, it's been splendid, man. I was just listening to you, bro. I know you said, "Oh, he finally speaks," but I was just listening to you, man, because coming on here, you took me down memory lane when I was a kid, and how much I used to love wrestling, and how much we used to just have my mom to cook chicken wings and make dip and stuff, and like how we thought that we was actually at WrestleMania when we used to order it, on TV. So we actually would tell our friends, don't call us, don't contact us, don't come by the house. If you're not invited to this WrestleMania circle, man. So I'll talk to you tomorrow. Don't do it, bro, because people, if somebody ordered WrestleMania and they got food and you come knocking on their door, you might get snapped on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, especially if you had to pay for it.
Yeah, exactly. And so we all pitched in to pay for it together. So we didn't want my brothers and my cousins, so we didn't want to be disturbed, man. But yeah, man, it's been a crazy time with all the wrestling and stuff as we was kids, and now that we're adults. But I'm so proud to see somebody that my brother, Icon E is connected with, and y'all grew up as childhood friends, man. And you can come back to the podcast and chop it up with us, man, and take us down memory lane and how you navigated through your journey to get to where you at, man. It's remarkable. And so, I just say, man, I look forward to having you back again, man. And peace and blessings, and keep doing what you're doing.
I appreciate it, man. Those pay-per-views, $45. If you ain't bringing no money, no food, don't come to the house.
I see you got the belt in your hand.
Yeah, man. I got this is the one I got. Qatar. It's the King of Ladders Championship. This is the one these are current titles that I hold. King of Ladders Championship. Yeah, I'm trying to get on the camera where it's like the camera's opposite from what I'm seeing, so it's like
we can see it. Yeah, we can see it.
That we can see it. Then I'm the current AML champion. This is the big one everybody likes. And it's like it's kind of like the old the title that Magnum TA used to have.
Yeah. So, that's awesome, bro. That's awesome. Look, brother. Man. Hey, I appreciate you coming on, man. Just give everybody your social media and where they can find you, and just let us know like what you got coming up, in the future as far as any matches or anything that we could come support you.
All right. Well, my Twitter handle is at Caprice Coleman. Instagram is Caprice Coleman. On Facebook, Caprice Coleman. I'm on TikTok. I'm not really on TikTok, but I have a TikTok page. It's like Caprice Coleman. And so you just type in Caprice Coleman, man. You can pretty much find me anywhere. I got a show coming up this Friday, October 1st in Gastonia for the AML Championship, where I'll be wrestling Shane Taylor, who's a part of the 6-man tag championships in Ring of Honor. Just look at the Ring of Honor schedule, man, and look at AML schedule. And if you see Ring of Honor or America's Most Liked Wrestling, I'm pretty much gonna be there. And I pop up other places too, but those are like my mainstay places. And I post everything on social media that I'm like shows and stuff. I try to, make sure people know where I'm gonna be at to stay busy. And that's it, man. At Caprice Coleman.
Because Ring of Honor, that broadcast every Saturday, like it's like 10 o'clock or something like that?
It's different because it's owned by Sinclair, so Sinclair plugs it in different places. So like you just type in Ring of Honor on whatever your guide is or whatever like that, and it'll show you where it plays at. Because some places it play 2 in the afternoon, some places it play 10 at night, Sunday mornings at 10 or midnight or right after the news, wrestling like NWA used to be. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
And then we had like the app just like everybody else have. We're on Fight TV, the Fight Network, and all that stuff, man. So if you look for it, you'll find it.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you, brother. Jacob, me and you gonna stay on for a minute and go through the football stuff real quick, the picks and stuff. But I just wanted to definitely, like I said, I'm very proud of this brother or whatever. I've seen his rise throughout the years and come up throughout the years. Every time you see him, he already got a smile on his face. He's always been the same person since from day one till now. I got a story, but I don't want to talk about it on camera. But I got a story for we was at Sand Hills.
Man, I wasn't gonna bring it up, but if you bring it up, we can talk about it. It's all good.
It involves a female, so I don't want to get you in trouble at the time.
It's all good, bro. It's all good.
Because I remember we were both trying to talk to the same female, and I remember him saying to me, I said, bro, what you doing? He said, well, hey man, from my understanding, she ain't your girl either. So I ain't gonna lie with man. I ain't gonna lie with man at Caprice I was mad for him for a minute, man. I'm like, this old pretty boy joker. Don't come in. He see me trying to holler at this chick. Then all these girls on campus, he come along trying to take the girl I'm trying to holler at. And I
oh man.
I don't know if you remember that.
It's crazy, bro, because like looking back, it's like we had like the same taste. What was her name?
What at the school?
Huh?
At the school?
Yeah, I know we ain't got to say her name. We got.
Yeah, I'm gonna say start with a C.
Yeah. But like, if I never apologized, bro, like there was some times where like pride was bigger in me than it needed to be. You know
you were a little arrogant around that time. You were a little arrogant.
That's what I'm saying. Pride was bigger than me than it needed to be, man. And I've always loved you, man. You've always been real to me. And so if I never apologize for those times,
that's all good.
No, I'm just saying. Yeah. I'm just saying I don't apologize because you're right. You're right. We had like the same taste and it was crazy because there was a time where, I would put women before I put my friends, and that was ignorant because your friend's gonna be there. You know what I'm saying? And like you have proven over the years to be a friend that was gonna be there. And I'm the one that crossed the line. You know what I mean? So I'm saying this to you on your show that you are a person that's always been that friend. You know what I'm saying? Even when the other people haven't. And I respect you for that.
I appreciate that. But I knew I had that laugh before you got off because I was like, man, I was just walking around here, man. I was like, boy, I was mad at you for a while about that thing, boy. I ain't never say nothing about it, but I was mad about it for a while. Man, but it's all good, man, brother. Like I said, I appreciate you coming on. Anytime you got anything you got going on and you want to plug it or whatever, or whatever the case may be, let me know. I'm always supportive. If you got a match somewhere, you want to invite me out like you did the last time. If I'm not busy, what I'm saying, I'll definitely come out and support you, brother.
No doubt. Love you, man.
Yeah. So but yeah, you can go ahead and like remove yourself or whatever. Like we're gonna continue on. But I appreciate you coming on.
All right, take it easy, bro.
All right, you too. So that was my man Caprice Coleman. What's up, Justin? That was my man for Caprice Coleman, the AML champion, ladder champion. He's won all kind of titles, tag team titles, all kind of things across the country, across the world. So great guy, grew up with him or whatever. So he's always the same humble guy. But before we get out of here, I want to definitely go over to the football. We want to do our football picks or whatever. So because we have another show that we do on Tuesday night called 910 Sports Reloaded. That's where we kind of review what we've seen on Sunday's games and over the weekend stuff as far as the college sports and all that. And being that we was doing an interview today, we didn't have an opportunity to really dig into the football stuff, but it's all good because that was worth it. That interview was well worth it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I was telling my man Jacob, one of those things where um one of those things where I look forward to this interview. I've been up since I'm in the mountain time, so I've been up since like 5:30 in the morning this morning. Just like I was so excited. I woke up like a kid on Christmas, or making sure that we were gonna have this interview. I hit him up, Caprice, like an hour before the interview to make sure he was still good to get on because this is one of them interviews I did not want to miss out on or whatever. Like I hope everybody enjoyed themselves. So let's go over the picks real quick. The first game, Charger versus Chiefs. Who you got?
Chiefs.
You got Chiefs? Okay. Yeah, I got the Chiefs too, especially
Mm-hmm.
being at the crib. Then we got the Cards versus the Jags. Hold on, let me write this down. Hold on, because I was trying to keep up. I was trying to keep up with who we picked on both games, so I could go back and look at it to see how close we came. So we both said both on the Chiefs. Who
Mm-hmm.
you got on the Cards and the Jags?
The Cards.
Okay, both on that. I feel the
Mm-hmm.
same way. I just think, the Jags too young right now. They still trying to figure out how to win. The Bears and the Browns.
I'm gonna pick the Bears.
Really? Really?
Yeah. Um, I'm hoping that Justin Fields is gonna do some amazing stuff. I want to see him win. I think if he can get a rhythm going in the first half and keep that rhythm throughout the game, I think they'll be all right. And the Bears don't have a bad defense at all. So I think if the defense don't have to be on the field too much, you know what I mean? I think it could be a surprise. Do I like the Browns? I like their backfield.
Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting to see what Beckham going to do today. But I don't think Beckham has ever been a good fit for the Browns. So, I've never expected a whole lot out of Beckham being a Brown.
Well, I mean, the thing about with the Bears, that's the reason why I'm picking the Browns because I think this Justin Fields' first full game. And I just think that's a lot to ask for him to go in there and win a game at this magnitude this early in the season. If they was playing against the Jets or somebody, then I'll probably give him a better chance. But a game like this, Browns got a pretty good defense, so I think it's going to be hard for him to go in there to win. So that's why I'm picking the Browns. So Washington versus the Bills.
Mm-hmm. The Bills, bro.
What's that
The
look,
Bills,
huh?
bro.
I knew you were gonna say that.
The
I knew you
Bills,
were gonna, I knew.
but not because I don't think Washington a good team. It's because I don't think Washington has that chemistry down with the offense, man. I don't really think that the offensive coordinator has really designed plays for the young fella, for the current quarterback. So I think once they get a rhythm of him designing plays, because the more plays you draw up and design, the better they can work out through practice and the better the chemistry will be during the game. So that's the only thing I think Washington really, really missing, man, because the defense is on point. And I think that the Bills have a better chemistry, have a better rhythm. And Josh Allen, is more in tune with the receivers that he have. You know what I mean? So that's why I picked the Bills.
Well, I'm about to surprise the heck out of you because I got
Mm-hmm.
Washington in my team. So I always anytime it comes to Washington,
Mm-hmm.
I do a what you call pick with your heart, pick with your head pick. My heart telling me
Mm-hmm.
Washington. My head telling me the Bills.
Mm-hmm.
Reason why I say the Bills is
Mm-hmm.
because with my head is because um we don't do good in atmospheres like this. Like Bills got a real raucous atmosphere. Um and they really show me they can win a big game like this. I mean, they showed me a lot last week with the Giants game, but they was at home. This is on the road, and the Bills is one of those teams that or fight or like pick to maybe possibly go to the Super Bowl. So a lot of times we don't
Mm-hmm.
play great in games like this. It's like too much pressure on us in games like this. And like you said, we still trying to learn our offensive system and all that kind of stuff and acclimate certain players. So these one of those games, I would be almost more surprised if we won than the fact that if we lost. I wouldn't even necessarily be disappointed if we lost as long as we competitive. I'm more looking at how competitive we are, more so if we win or lose. So that'll kind of give me an understanding of where we really at. But so anyway, the Colts and the Titans.
The Titans.
Yeah, I say that too. I just think Carson Wentz. I've been done with him, and then I just think Titans running game and the way they play and their chemistry is too good. And then they got Julio down there now, and once they really get him going, it's over with. You know what I mean? They gonna really be a something to mess with. So the Saints and the Patriots.
I'm gonna go with the Saints, man. I'm gonna go with the Saints because they lost last week, and I know that Jameis Winston gonna be trying to get some vengeance, and I really still don't know where Aaron Rodgers' head at. So I'm gonna go with the Saints.
Well, now it's not the Green Bay Packers. It's the Patriots.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Patriots.
The Patriots.
You said the Patriots?
I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with the Patriots because it could be a hit or miss. But I will say, if Winston get in a rhythm, he definitely gonna.
Well, I say the Patriots because I just feel like with Jameis Winston just getting a job, and one thing about Bill Belichick, he's a genius at exploiting your weaknesses. So, and with them not having Michael Thomas there, I think it's going to be a lot to ask Jameis Winston to come in and beat the Patriots when you're dealing with that genius of a coach. And I don't like Bill Belichick, personality-wise and whatever, but coaching-wise, you know what I'm saying? I just think it's going to be too much to ask him to go in and Jameis Winston going to win.
I just think his coaching expertise has been exposed. Bro.
I mean,
all exposed.
Yeah. We'll get more of that on Tuesday night. We really can dive in deep into it.
Yeah.
Especially after this game, we can really break things down like we want to. The Falcons and the Giants.
The Giants?
Yeah, me too. I think Falcons is terrible on the defensive end. Like the Falcons can't stop a snail from going across the road. Like they just terrible on defense. So you know what I mean? I got the Giants all day in that one. So the Bengals and the Steelers.
Steelers.
I'm gonna actually go with the Bengals on this one.
Well, hold on. I'm gonna go with the Bengals too. I'm gonna change it and go with the Bengals.
I just think
it's gonna be interesting to see. He done, bro. He done. He done. I think that somebody gonna bring in. Yeah, big. But we gonna talk about that Tuesday night too. But he done.
Yeah, just think. Yeah. The Ravens and the Lions. Yeah, the Ravens and the Lions.
The Ravens, of course.
Okay. Yeah, so I definitely got the Ravens all day on this one. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think that I write this down because I'm trying to think that because I don't see the Packers on here. Did I put the Packers on here anyway? Well, anyway, the Jets and the Broncos.
Bronco.
Yeah, I just think right now the Jets they're still trying to find themselves. So I don't think right now, they might win 3 games all season long. Be honest with you. I just don't think they just got a lot going on down there. So I just don't see them beating a team, of any caliber right now. They might luck up and win one, but that's about it. Because I'm trying to think who did Green Bay play Thursday? Didn't they just play Thursday night?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think they just played Thursday night, but I'm trying to remember who they played. Trying to look up.
No, not
Oh,
Thursday.
okay, no, that was the Panthers and the
Actually,
Texans. That was the Panthers and the Texans that played. And yeah, I'm gonna tell you what's crazy before we
uh,
move on. And I say this on everything I love. I was sitting there about to watch the game, and I'm in my mind. I said, "Man, what's the score gonna be?" And I picked the score to be 24-9 or whatever. So, and it ended up being 24-9, and that's on everything I love. I lie to you not. I picked the score in my mind, sitting there before the game started. I said the score gonna be 24-9. So that's the
That's
crazy
right.
part about
That's right.
that. So let me see. Next I got the Dolphins and the Raiders. Who you got? Who you got on that? Well, I know I got the Raiders. I got the Raiders winning that game. Um, I just think that right now I think that the Raiders is playing with a lot of confidence. David Carr is playing with a lot of confidence. I feel like David Carr finally starting to find his way in the game. I think that John Gruden is showing a
mm,
little bit more confidence in David Carr. I know Josh Jacobs is supposed to be out, but I think that David Carr is doing enough. And then with Tua out, I don't even know what the Dolphins going to even do at quarterback right now, and they, whatever. So I think that's
right.
hurting the Dolphins a lot because I don't even know who's playing quarterback with the Dolphins right now. I mean, or whatever. So I got the Raiders in that game. Who you got on that?
Um, you talking about? David Carr? Yeah, I mean, I like David Carr. I think David Carr is going to be. A lot of people think that he's going to have an MVP season.
I mean, he on his way. I mean, he definitely on his way. I mean, he playing very confident. This is the most confidence I've ever seen David Carr play with since the time he's been in with the Raiders. But I've always liked the way he played. I just thought that for the most part, either he didn't have the pieces around him, or he didn't, or he just didn't have the confidence from the coaching staff like he should have. But I've always liked David Carr and the way he played, or whatever. So, but next I got you picking the Raiders, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I got the Bucks versus the Rams.
I'm gonna go with the Rams.
Me too. Me too. Me too. I actually, it's funny because starting the season, I almost drank the Kool-Aid, and I was saying, you know what? I actually think, I'm saying Dave. He said Derek Carr. David, yeah, Derek Carr. I don't know. I kept saying David Carr. Yeah, Derek Carr. Yeah, I apologize for that. Justin was like, yeah, it's Derek Carr. Derek, and I'm like, yeah, because I always mix their names up sometimes. I know that's his brother. But anyway, yeah, but it's kind of funny. I drank the Kool-Aid because I was actually one of the people that say, "Oh, man, the Bucks gonna go 17-0." And then when I finally seen the game against Dallas, and they didn't, their defense looked kind of suspect. I changed up and said, you know what, I'm looking at more like 15-2. I just don't. I just think at some point they're
That's
gonna
right.
meet a team that's going have their number. And this is the game. This is one of the games I picked. I haven't yet chosen yet the other game yet, but this is the game I picked for them to lose or whatever. So I definitely that's definitely the reason why I picked um the uh the Rams to win this game. Um so next I got the Rams and the 49ers. I mean sorry, the Seahawks versus the 49ers. In this particular game, I would say um I think I want to say I want to pick the 49ers. But this is one of them games I'm kind of iffy on because I really feel like, anytime you're dealing with Russell Wilson, it's hard to go against Russell Wilson. But, the 49ers are at home. So, it's one of those games where it could go either way, depending on, especially with the 49ers running game. If the 49ers can get their running game going,
Mm-hmm.
then it's gonna be difficult for the Seahawks to win. But I'm gonna pick
Mm-hmm.
the 49ers slightly, but I'm not confident. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm not confident on that pick. but I'm gonna pick them slightly in this game. You know what I mean? And then last but
Okay.
not least, we got them boys
You know
versus
what it
them
is.
Eagles.
The
Hey, you
boys,
already know I'm hating. So you already know I'm going with the Eagles. So you
But
already know I'm hating.
but I don't understand why you're hating because I mean, as Zeke said, the most hated team, the most hated team in the NFC East conference is the Philadelphia Eagles. We hate the Philadelphia Eagles. You ain't gonna too much hate Dak say they hate Washington. You gonna always hear them Cowboys say they hate Philly, and we do
Well,
with a passion.
listen. Let me say this, and it's not towards you personally, but it's towards your people. The Dallas Cowboy fans are the most arrogant fans on earth. Only people that's more arrogant or just as arrogant as y'all, which has not been as bad lately, but over the years was the New York Yankee fans. At least the New York Yankee fans had reason to be arrogant because they was when they was dominating the early 2000s. But Dallas, y'all arrogant every year. I get it. You support your team, you love your team, but you're not realistic at all. Every year, oh, we're gonna win the Super Bowl. Y'all can be the worst team in the NFL, and you see all kind of posts and stuff on Facebook and all over the place because y'all beat
See, but
the Bengals or somebody. Like, bro, why are y'all bragging about beating the worst team in the NFL? That's what drives me crazy. So it's not even the Cowboys themselves. It's actually the fans that I don't like. You know what I'm saying?
what
But
people
you're not
that's
that
not
bad.
Cowboys fans would never understand.
Huh?
People that's Cowboys fans, that's not Cowboy fans. People that's not Dallas Cowboys fans would never understand. So we just say bless their heart. You know, I mean, they would really never understand. They would never
You're right.
understand the the time invested in being a Cowboys fan. Because
Oh my
most people don't
God.
invest time in their teams like that. You know what I mean? They
Bro,
don't invest
you
time to their
talking to
teams like that.
somebody, you talking to somebody that's been a fan of Washington since the 80s. And then I'm gonna tell you what's crazy. I was in a restaurant a couple of weeks ago, and like matter of fact, last week I was in a restaurant and this older white guy, probably in his 70s, 60s, or 70s, and we was talking. He pulled out a picture of he went to high school with Joe Theismann and Drew Pearson on the same high school team. And he pulled out a picture, like an old picture of them high school. And he said, if you know anything about football, you know who these are. And I'm looking like, I want to say, when I seen the one guy picture, I said, I want to say Joe Theismann. And he's pointing to the other guy. And I'm like, okay. And I'm just like, you got to think. You showing me pictures of these dudes in high school. They like, I have no idea what I'm looking at. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a fan, but dang, bro. Like, really? But he said, yeah. He said he went to high school. He said, Drew Pearson, Joe Theismann played in high school together. And he showed me a picture, like, you know how they show the team photo, and he had the team photo of them playing on the same team, and I was like, man, that's crazy, or whatever. But yeah, man. But anyway, like I said, before we get out of here, just let everybody know every Sunday morning we got 910 Sports here on the StreamYard at 9 a.m. We actually supposed to be adding some more platforms to go on to, or whatever. So we'll be announcing that later on this in our Facebook page when it's locked in. Because I'm gonna tell people I don't like to say nothing, until I know it's locked in for sure. Because you put something out, and then if it don't happen, people hate on you. Oh yeah, you was lying anyway. So once we get everything locked in on some other platforms that we be on to add on to this, I appreciate CEV Sports and the support they give us on this network, and we're gonna continue on to just grow this thing together. Then we got 910 Sports Reloaded, was our stream. It was our stereo app platform. It's a little different from this because it's more uncensored. And then we're actually like it's like an avatar podcast thing, but it gets a little bit crazy. Last episode got real crazy with a particular person that called in or whatever. So it got crazy. So that was a little bit more sensitive. This is more PG. This is Disney World right here. That the other night
Right.
that was Showtime. You know what I'm saying? So it gets a little bit more crazier, but we get more in depth into our conversations. So if you want to follow us, that's at 10 p.m. Eastern time Tuesday nights. It's called 910 Sports Reloaded. at 10 p.m. On Tuesday night. So please chime in and follow us and keep helping us grow what we're doing. If you want to follow us, you can go to 910 Sports COG Radio on Facebook. You can follow me on Icon E19 on Instagram. My other page got hacked. I had a 910 Sports Instagram, but it got hacked and I can't even get into the page. So I just right now just go with my Icon E um page or whatever. So what's your plugs, Jacob?
Hey man, you can follow me at Jacob Anderson II on Facebook, at King Jacob 1974 on IG, at Kennard Networks on Twitter. That's KINARD Networks. And you also can follow me at King Jacob 1974 on TikTok as well. And just hit me up through email as well. You can hit me up through kingjacobspeaks@gmail.com. And, we here. I am Jacob the Great, as you know this.
And then also, too, I also got a radio station called www.cogradio.net. We always looking for more content. So we looking for podcasts, radio. People want to do radio shows, like their own person to be their own personality on the net, on the radio station. So we always looking for that. So if you know somebody, if you know yourself that wants to get down with us on that, you can hit me up on my Facebook page. You can also email me at just hit me up on Eddie Jones TSOA@gmail.com, because I got so many emails. Sometimes I forget which one is which. So just hit me up for there right now. And then any parent, single, married, whatever, if you got a child, or a niece, a nephew, a cousin, friend of the family that's in high school, college sports, and they want to come on here and interview, let us know, because this is what this platform is really built for. This platform is built for people who don't necessarily get the recognition that they should get every day and need that look to be able to get to the next level, or has accomplished something that that we try to put a spotlight on. Like, a lot of people probably didn't even know who Caprice Coleman was before today, and they may know and go back and look at past matches or follow him moving forward or whatever. But he's accomplished a lot in his career, and he deserved to get his flowers. And that's what we're here to do. We here to get people their flowers and help actually build up our communities throughout the country. We talking to players from all over the place: South Carolina, Texas, Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, and we want to continue to grow this thing so it can be the biggest platform for basically, I would say, the underdogs. So we want this to be the biggest platform for the underdogs moving forward. But not to say we don't want other people on this platform on a bigger level, but this platform is built for the underdogs. And that's what we really look forward to having on here, is those underdog people. So that's the main thing. I appreciate everybody who's come on here and spent the time with us over this last hour and a half. You could have been doing anything else, but you chose to come on here and listen to us talk or whatever. So till next time, like I say, every Sunday morning, 9 a.m., you know what I'm saying, right here on the CV network, on the StreamYard. Continue to follow us, continue to support, and we out of here. It's your boy, Icon.
Your boy Jacob the Great, and we out.
And we out of here. Holla. You too, Justin.
Holla.